Kathy, my sister Lacey, who's homesick right now. They've all been by my side since I've started this project back in September. But I would like to tell you now a little bit about my story, but I'd like to let you know it could be triggering too. My name is Tasia Aiden, and I could be your neighbor, and I'm your friend. I am a wife and I'm a mother. And I was also sexually abused when I was 4 to 11 years old, and I was raped my sophomore year in college. My story is not unlike very many of yours. My parents divorced when I was 2, and I was required to have mandatory visits with my biological father. Honestly, I don't remember the first few years. I was too young. Although I don't know when the sexual abuse began, I do have a vivid first memory captured in my mind leading into the years of abuse. It was at the hands of a relative, someone I was supposed to trust and love. Innocence was taken. My trust was destroyed. It began with touching. I was confused, threatened, and told that it was normal. It progressed into being more than touching. I was terrified to go for visits, knowing he was waiting for me. I became physically ill every Christmas because I knew that he was going to be there. I was too scared to tell anyone because I was told it was my fault. I began to live double lives as a young age and disassociate myself from the abuse to survive. When I was with my mother, I was happy and a carefree kid. I wanted to live in the mountains when I grew up with my dog Jasmine. When I was with him, I was a whole other person, not even a kid anymore. I was a survivor, holding on to the light at the end of the tunnel. This cycle continued till the year I turned 11. He died that year. I don't remember his death or going to his funeral, but I remember another loving relative's death and funeral when I was 6. Tricky how disassociation works. The aftershock still waved through even after his presence was no longer there. The damage was done. I struggled with depression. I was terrified to go to mandatory visits, even though I knew he wouldn't be there. I had low self-esteem and self-worth. I was skilled at smiling on the outside and crying on the inside. The self-loathe that I had for myself bled into several years into my life. I had suicidal thoughts in high school, but a close friend held my hand and was there for me. Even though she didn't know the root of the problem, I wouldn't even admit it to myself. This was the perfect setup for an abusive person to seek me out in my college years. I was already groomed by my first abuser and had an extremely low self-esteem. He was a charmer at first. You can read more about my college story on my blog, the Teal Lotus Project.com. I am happy to say that I have taken my brokenness and turned it into beauty. I am not defined by what has happened to me, but what I am doing with it. The Teal Lotus Project was formed to give hope and courage, but grew to be more. With the help of supporters, I plan to speak at high schools and local colleges to spread awareness. In addition to this goal, with a lot of effort and dedication, I want to form a therapy fund for survivors. This fund will help survivors with counseling costs. Before my project, our community rarely spoke about sexual assault. I wanted to give a name and a face to this crime, so our community could see a survivor. We walk among you. I am standing here to give a voice to that little girl who couldn't speak, a voice to that woman who holds guilt for not going to the police. I want to give a voice to the survivors in our very community. I am here to give hope. I am here because I am a survivor. Thank you.